Good morning and welcome to Leadership 2031. I'm your host, Doug Erickson, and I'm thrilled that you're joining me today. I think you're going to be pretty happy that you logged on for this insightful look at the future of leadership. If you logged on earlier, hopefully you had some fun in the breakout rooms. Make sure to say thanks to your host. We'll have those open again as our program concludes. We'll have a couple of opportunities for you to engage today. The council leadership team is monitoring the chat and can respond to your questions or comments right there. We're also going to be building a word cloud later together. And you're going to need your smartphone or some other way to get on a website during that meeting. All right, let's get started. I'm here because I have seen how scouting can change lives, mine included. And scouting changed lives and shapes our community because of people like you. Though we couldn't gather in person as we typically do for our breakfast with this event, and I'm kind of sad we missed the eggs, I think you could come away for this next hour equally, if not more excited about the future of leadership. I'd like to thank everyone that's here now and those who couldn't join us for supporting scouting. The campaign Leadership 2031 is about making that investment in those who will shape our world today, a decade from now, and far beyond. You could support scouting at any time by hitting the giving link on your screen that's in the chat, okay? We have a great program planned today. To set the virtual stage, I'd like to bring back last year's keynote speaker, Randall Stevenson, who at the time was the CEO of AT&T, and he has a phenomenal take on scouting. Let's hear from Randall.
What advice would you have for scouting leaders and supporters as they look to the next 100 years?
Scouting, we don't appreciate how freakishly unique what we do in scouting is. And you know, what do you do in scouting? Well, we teach people outdoorsmanship and adventure. And look, what we do at the end of the day, those are all means to an end. The end is we grow at scale, I mean at massive scale, leaders of character and integrity. It's the darndest thing. I mean, you can't find another program that mass produces leaders like this program does. And did it affect me? Absolutely, it affected me. I've told this story a thousand times. I won't go into it again here, but it had a profound impact on my abilities as a leader and developing me as a leader. And I asked, where are the leaders that are leaders of character and integrity? And fact of the matter is, those leaders are in that Cub Scout pack that's meeting in a house. Those leaders are in a troop that is hiking through the great outdoors, learning to teach other kids and lead other kids and develop followership among other kids. They are in scouting. Those are the leaders that are coming up. And they're the leaders that know civility. They're the leaders that know honesty and integrity. I just have such a passion for this organization because I can't see another organization out there that is still so committed to doing all the things that we do that the end result are great leaders of integrity and character. There's nothing like it.
Man, those are some great words. I love the phrase freakishly unique. Scouting is, and so is Rich Brenner. Rich, thanks for getting Randall with us last year. Look, we're getting started and I'm already pumped up. This is gonna be fantastic. I hope you are too. Maybe we can give it like a round of applause for scouting, like a round of applause, or maybe like a big hand or something like that. Just make some noise in your office or your house there for scouting. All right, let's get started with our program. Please welcome Eagle Scout Brielle Wong to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please prepare to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are in Scout uniform, salute. If not, place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Brielle. We're going to have the pleasure of hearing and learning more about her and her experiences in scouting later on, so just stay tuned for that. I can't turn anywhere in this scouting community without meeting great people, and I'm one of the lucky ones. I get to spend time with my son, who's a Cub Scout in Pac 3 in Canyon Heights Academy in Campbell, and I know that's possible because of the support of many of you here today. Let's take a little journey about our council. This next production is unique because it was made by our local youth, and it's designed to give you a flavor of this amazing program.
Welcome to the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council, Boy Scouts of America. For over 100 years, scouting has helped youth build character and leadership skills across 4 Bay Area counties: Santa Clara, Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito. Throughout history, scouting has become a part of the fabric of American life, and what scouting brings to communities today, values of service, respect, trust, and courtesy, is more important now than ever before. Scouting and its adventures are available to youth across 5 different programs: Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Venturing, Sea Scouts, and Exploring. This value-based training focuses on character development, service, citizenship, and personal fitness, all while encouraging youth to experience and lead in the outdoors. Despite shelter-in-place restrictions, SVMBC adapted to a virtual setting with at-home meetings and events. Even with modified programming, SVMBC was able to serve more than 10,000 youth in 374 Scout units. Scouting in the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council continues to cultivate the leaders of the future. In 2020 alone, our local Scouts contributed over 100,000 hours of service to their communities. Over 300 of these Scouts achieved the Eagle Scout rank, including 14 young women who made history in the national inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts. Our council is able to bring high-quality programs to thousands of youth because of strong community partnerships. Organizations such as schools, churches, service clubs, and businesses host and charter Scout units. More than 4,000 parents and other caring adults volunteer to deliver weekly programs, take Scouts camping, teach merit badges, and provide guidance on our board and district committees. Hundreds of supporters donate and fundraise nearly $4 million for the annual operating budget. You too can help shape the leaders of the future. Get involved and support scouting today.
Well, sign me up for that. I think I'm probably too old. I'll check with Jason, but that looked like a lot of fun. I'd love to do that. I hope that stirred some memories or excited the possibilities for you as you watch this. And I can't wait to hear what our keynote speaker, Kevin Surace, has to say about AI and virtual reality, because the Scouts that made that video certainly made a virtual reality happen right there. See what I did there? That was good, huh? All right, anyways, scouting has some serious talent and great mentors like Dave Holt, who's advising our council youth video team. In fact, this video was produced by Wendy Werner, a Cub Scout leader, and recent Eagle Scouts, Laura Sun and Jared Mandrell. Wendy, Laura, and Jared, thank you very much. All right, I want to bring Mark Lazzarini to share a couple of updates on scouting. Mark is our council president, and by my calculations, he's been on our board for about 138 years. He also happens to be managing partner at DAL Properties. Mark?
Good morning, and thank you for being with us this morning. I'm Mark Lazzarini, president of the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council. I know today you're going to be hearing a little bit about the future and vision of the future from Kevin Surace. But right now I want to share with you a little bit about our board and council vision and what we've been focused on these last several years. First, we wanted to create a strong and viable program for our youth by being a top performing council in this nation. And what does this mean, and why was this important? The scouting program is really delivered by our volunteers. And prior to COVID, we had nearly 5,000 adult volunteers, mostly parents, delivering and administering a scouting program to over 13,000 youth in our community. Your support helps enable us to prepare our youth by providing important materials, services, training, and camping experiences. We spent the last several years improving our camps. We have two in the council, one in Santa Cruz called Camp Cheeseboro, and then Camp High Sierra. These camps provide important venues for our scouts, where they learn scout activities, they build self-esteem by reaching certain achievements, and also learn how to work as a team with other scouts and develop that character and leadership capability. We're also proud of creating a diverse program. In fact, the highest percentage of our scouts served come from diverse cultures and backgrounds. And recently, we've been able to expand our program to enable girls, which makes it now an experience for the whole family to enjoy.
All right, thank you, Mark. Mark is a good friend to scouting, and I can't tell you how great it is to work with him on the board to help youth gain the skills needed to shape our future. Now, I'd like to bring to the stage one of our scout leaders, a volunteer with dedication beyond measure, Mr. Dave Holt. Dave?
Hi, I'm Dave Holt. I am Scoutmaster of Scouts BSA Troop 582 in Saratoga, California. I'm a district volunteer with Polaris District and a board member with SVMBC. I volunteer in scouting and am very proud of it. But let me tell you a little bit of my own personal story leading up to this point in time. The fields I have worked with are supercomputers, semiconductors, online gaming, ASIC architecture, graphics chips, big data, and most recently, COVID therapeutics. Outside of scouting, my proudest accomplishment is building a company. The company I'd like to refer to as Chromatic Research. We formed that company in 1993 to build a media processor. The team that we assembled was incredible. It was really the team building that I'm most proud of. We had experts in modem technology, in graphics technology, in audio technology, in video technology, in ASIC design, and all of those combined together to build a chip that could do all of those things at a time in the industry where such was unheard of. And most of those features were done through software, again, ahead of its time. Now, a really interesting thing about these companies, some of them were successful and some of them were not successful. What tied together the successful companies was product market fit. I believe that today, in 2021, scouting has product market fit. Here's why I do what I do in scouting. I am an Eagle Scout, 1974, Troop 3, oldest troop west of Mississippi, Columbia, Missouri. Scouting provides our youth a moral foundation to be better adults, and our country sorely needs people leading our corporations, leading our government, leading our civic organizations who take as a core value that they care about other people.
That's really great. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for the incredible impact you have on the Boy Scouts of America. We couldn't do it without you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I introduced her earlier, but let's take a look at Brielle's Eagle Scout project.
So Brielle is helping install a new table for our beehives. So last year, this time of year, we had ants that came in and destroyed the hive, and it was completely decimated, completely empty. Claire, our resident beekeeper, worked really hard to have a new hive donated, but we're still under that threat of ants decimating the hive again.
Okay.
So Brielle has put together a really awesome project building these ant-proof tables that will prevent that hive destruction from happening in the future.
Wonderful.
The organization is so excited about it.
Oh, cool. And tell me again, what organization are you with?
I'm with Our City Forest.
Our City Forest.
The community nursery.
And you're...
Everyone is buzzing about that project. All right, I'm excited to bring back Brielle Wong. She is the nation's most recent Eagle Scout, and she's got a great story. Brielle?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brielle Wong, an Eagle Scout from Troop 582, and I'm currently a freshman in high school. I joined Scouts BSA in February of 2019 and have been an active member of my troop ever since. Last term, I served as my troop's senior patrol leader, or SPL. An SPL is the most senior position in the entire troop and basically runs the troop, giving advice to patrol leaders, directing other leadership members, and running troop meetings, among other things. In addition to my duties as senior patrol leader, I also served as the scout in charge for a canoeing trip last September. This involved getting people to sign up, and more importantly, organizing all the scouts throughout the entire outing. When we were out on the lake, I remember the less experienced scouts couldn't paddle as fast as the more experienced, so inevitably everybody got split up. I lost my voice from directing everyone across the vastness of the entire lake. This became one of many instances where I had to rely on my leadership skills to make sure every single scout got to our campsite together safely. Through this experience, I learned that it is vital to understand and practice the concept of servant leadership. The scouts don't serve the leader serves the scouts. In BSA, we believe in following the Scouts' promise: duty to God and country, duty to self, and duty to others. Being a leader, a good leader, is mostly about fulfilling your duty to others. Learning this has made me more successful in every single one of my leadership positions in the troop. It will continue to help me in my future endeavors, and I probably would never have gotten the chance to gain that experience and knowledge if I had never joined Scouts BSA. One of the highlights of the canoe trip was getting to do the canoeing merit badge. A requirement for this merit badge is to capsize your canoe and then perform a T-rescue, which, to put it simply, is flipping it back over and getting back into your canoe. So my partner and I paddled out, and on a count of 3, we capsized our canoe. Amidst the lapping waves and the very cold water, we proceeded to drag ourselves back in. My partner got back in first successfully, and then it was my turn. Mind you, I have no upper body strength, so I had a hard time pulling myself back in. After a few unsuccessful tries, my partner, on her own, decided to valiantly jump back into the water and from behind pushed me back into the canoe. By the end of it, we were all laughing our heads off at the entire incident while paddling back to shore. I've made invaluable friendships throughout my 2 years in scouting. Part of being a leader is relying on others, whether that means delegating or asking for advice. As SPL, you simply can't do everything on your own. There's no way I would be where I am without the help and guidance of all the incredible adults and scouts in my troop and council. And there's definitely no way I would have been able to get back into that canoe without the help of a friend. Being SPL of a troop of 70 girls, you have to show leadership throughout the entirety of your 6-month term. When everyone is relying on you, it's a lot of pressure, and you have to learn to cope. You have to stay organized, focused, you have to be reliable, and you have to set a good example. These are all things I couldn't necessarily do back when I was a newly minted, unranked scout. My experience as an SPL in the Scouts BSA program and my journey towards earning the Eagle Scout rank has led me to where I am now. Someone who is more confident and strives to embody the Scouting ideals of the Scout Oath and law every single day. Thank you.
That is awesome, Brielle. Thank you so much. Your Eagle Scout project is super cool, and you're even cooler in person. So thanks for being with us. I see the chat is alive right now with comments, Brielle, about how great you are. So congratulations, and thanks for being here. All right, I am pleased to bring you two more community leaders to share how they think Scouting matters, okay? First, we're gonna talk to Mary Dam from Hollister. Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Dam. I live in San Benito County, and I serve on several different organizations as a volunteer. Some of my favorite are the United Way of San Benito County, the Hospital Board, the Commission for First Five, and I love serving on the Bond Oversight Committee at the high school. One of my favorite being the Boy Scouts of America, where I currently serve as a den leader for little kindergarten boys and girls, and serve on the district committee for San Benito District, and am on the executive board for the council. One of my proudest accomplishments as a volunteer was with the United Way of San Benito County. I was on the board for many years, served as president, and it was very rewarding. And then for a short time, United Way of America shut down small United Ways, which included San Benito County. Several years after that, we all realized that we were suffering because we didn't have a United Way. And several men approached me and asked me to work with them on restarting our United Way, which we did, and we're very successful right now. In the Scouting program, one of the things that I am most proud of is we didn't have a Cub Scout day camp in San Benito District because of our size. When 6 of us decided that it was time we had our own day camp, we got trained as directors, and we had our first day camp in 1986. And we're going strong still, and this will be our 35th year, I believe. Why I do what I do for the Boy Scouts of America. First of all, I do it because I believe in the program, I believe in the mission, I believe in all the people that work so hard to make the program possible. So we involve everyone. It's so rewarding to see parents step up, and sometimes they need more encouragement than others, but they step up and help the program because it is run by volunteers mostly. And we get to see them grow, we get to see them get involved with their youth and become good leaders themselves.
Man, I tell you, first off, thank you, Mary. That was fantastic. Mary is such an absolute pleasure, and she is so fantastic, and we can't thank her enough for being involved in Scouting. All right, let's meet our next contestant, I almost said, our next speaker, Don Chapin. Don is a very influential community leader, and he is a huge champion of Scouting. Don?
Hi, I'm Don Chapin. I'm a local contractor here in Salinas, California, president and CEO of the Don Chapin Company. Our company employs about 280 folks here locally. We do work in 4 counties, Monterey, Santa Cruz, San Benito, and Santa Clara. And I am the proud past president of the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council of Boy Scouts. I've been lucky in my life to have had a family that mentored me in giving back. And because of that, I was able to give back to Rancho Cielo, a local youth campus here. I've been on that board. I was a founding member there. Very, very important. Giving back to the youth who need that assistance here in our community. And Palma School. I've been engaged at Palma School for a number of years. And that's a local Catholic all-boys high school that I've been able to be a participant in the guidance and leadership of that organization. So giving back and providing that leadership and providing those opportunities has been a great gift to me, and I think it's one of my greatest accomplishments, being able to compile all of that in a way that makes a difference to the community, and I'm very proud of that. My accomplishments in scouting have been many, but I think the two that are most vivid in my mind are the bringing together of the two councils. When we brought the Silicon Valley Council to the Monterey Bay Council and merged the two with a group of community leaders that were amazing, and that was a great accomplishment. We provided security for scouting here in our area for a long time to come, as well as the financial stability. Bringing our council to financial wellness and bringing people together to make sure that that continues, and sustainable financial positioning has really been a great accomplishment that I've been able to be part of. And I'm very, very proud that we have scouting here to stay for a long time to come. Scouting is important to me, and here's why. I believe that scouting provides great programs and great ethics and morals and values to young people all through our community. Without scouting, we would have a different world today.
Thank you, Don. Here's what I love about Don. I don't think he's ever met a challenge that he couldn't like overcome, right? Anything you give Don, he looks at it and goes, that's it? I can do much more than that. Don is a fantastic supporter of scouting and a remarkable community leader. Don, thanks for taking the time to be with us this morning. We've heard from some pretty inspiring people. Now, I want to hear from you. You don't have to be a scout to act like a scout. In fact, I'd argue the world would be a much better place if everyone lived by the Scout Oath and Law. So let's see what you have to say. In a minute, you're going to watch this short video refresher of the tenets of scouting, and I'd like to direct you to a website on your screen to play a little game. Together, we're going to build a word cloud. Go ahead and navigate to this page. You can do it by scanning that QR code on the screen right now with your smartphone, or go to the website menti.com. That's MENTI.com, and enter the code 4970451. Again, that's menti.com, MENTI.com, and the code is 4970451. I think the link is also in the chat. You can get there as well. When this video is over, I want you to enter 3 points of scouting that stood out to you, and we're going to build the word cloud from that. So let's watch this video about the Scout Oath and Law.
On my honor, I'll do my best
to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law,
to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally.
Whoop, we've got some technical difficulties. If they don't sort it out quickly, I can dazzle you with some really great dad jokes. I have written some just for this occasion today. What's that? We're going to replay the video. Here we go. Live updates, people. This is showbiz, real time. Here we go.
On my honor, I'll do my best
to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law,
to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and
all right. Awesome. So I love this kind of test. It's like an open book test. We just gave you all the answers, but I actually don't want you just to repeat everything you just said. I really want you to focus on some words about scouting that stand out to you. Okay. So again, menti.com. 4970451, or hit that QR code. And we're going to give you just a second here to see what comes up in our word cloud. Hopefully we got a good couple of good things. So I'm just going to quiet while you think very carefully and enter your words in. And if you haven't gone to the site yet, please do. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and look at you. All right, let me check with the folks. How are we doing back there? Are we doing good? We're getting some words. They're popping up on the screen. Look at that. Trustworthy, leadership, helpful. I see friendship in there. Community, fun, values. Wow. It certainly looks like leadership is the most popular value. And how appropriate is that for today? Leadership 2031 is our campaign, and you guys picked leadership. I love it. All right, let's keep moving through. Will Rogers once said, the only thing wrong with the Boy Scouts is there just aren't enough of them. And I think that's pretty darn true. If everyone lived by these words like Scouts do, just imagine the world we live in today. We are here today to do everything we can through our time, our talent, and our treasure to get more kids to be Scouts, and to make sure those kids who are Scouts have the kind of experience promised to them. Many of you have already generously supported Scouting in our annual Friends of Scouting campaign leading up to this event, and for that, I thank you. My son, Baden, and the 34 Cub Scout buddies that he has will thank you for that someday, probably with some high fives and maybe some dad jokes, who knows. If you haven't, take a moment now, or if you want to, you can do it later, or you can do it now and later, and make your gift. It costs $300 to support a Scout in the program each year. Consider 1 or 2 or maybe 10. Before we bring our keynote speaker to really wow us with a look into the future, I have one more champion of Scouting and community leader I think you need to hear from. Of course, this is John Ball. Please welcome John.
Hi, I'm John Ball, and I'm speaking to you today as a retiree after a 40-year career managing very large-scale commercial construction projects. And I'm also past president of the Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council of the Boy Scouts. Some of my proudest accomplishments have to do with large-scale commercial projects that include the San Jose Mineta International Airport, where back in 2008 and 2009, we rebuilt the whole airport. And it was a great project, and the city was very happy when we were done. Another one of my favorite projects was the Rotary Play Garden in San Jose off of Coleman, a project that was done as a centennial project for the Rotary Club of San Jose. And my team with Hensel Phelps led the way and guaranteed the construction cost. And now it is a playground for kids of all abilities. Very rewarding. Another one of my favorite memories was crossing the Atlantic Ocean on a 42-foot sailboat with my sister and brother-in-law, and that created some memories that I'll never forget. Another that I'll never forget was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro as a 62-year-old with 9 other 60-plus-year-olds. Try that sometime when you're 60 plus. My proudest accomplishment with the Boy Scouts, Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council, was leading the way and having something to do with the Camp High Sierra Dining Hall and Kitchen, a $6 million project that went extremely well, and now we have an asset that kids will enjoy for generations. The reason that I support Scouting the way I do is because when a young person learns skills at an early age, they develop confidence. And when they take that confidence through their later years in life, great things happen. As a leader and as a volunteer and as a good steward of our community. I love it when young people earn confidence because of their actions at a young age.
Thank you, John, for your leadership inspiring our community to look to a bright future. Speaking of bright, many of you know John is involved with the project to bring the light tower to the city of San Jose. Between you and I think it's really just so he can signal his alien parents to bring him home. But that's a different story. Anyways, you heard John mention his pride in building our new dining hall at Camp High Sierra. This summer, nearly 1,100 scouts will dine there and experience a week of life-shaping adventure and team building. That's one of the many services we provide thousands of scouts in our council. We also have Camp Cheeseboro and Pico Blanco for weekend fun and family and Cub Scout programs. And I really can't think of any other youth program that offers such a breadth of opportunities for adventure, learning, and adult mentorship. Scouting really is an investment that gives back for generations. Okay, we're about to get a peek into what the future looks like for our generation and those who follow it. It's my pleasure to introduce Kevin Surace. Kevin is a futurist. He is about disruptive innovation. This Silicon Valley innovator, serial entrepreneur, and CEO of AppVance is joining us today to talk about the future, artificial intelligence, and a world of automation. He's an expert in these fields, and he's led pioneering work on the first cellular data smartphone, the first human-like AI virtual assistant, soundproof drywall, and his technology has retrofitted the Empire State Building and New York Stock Exchange. Kevin's been featured by several major television networks and publications like Times, Forbes, and Business Week. He was even named Inc. magazine's Entrepreneur of the Year. And today, he's here to talk to us about the type of leaders we can be and help shape for 2031 and beyond to become successful in this next tech revolution. Please give a warm Zoom welcome to Kevin Surace. Kevin, welcome.
Well, thank you so very much, and it's really an honor to be here to support Scouting. It's an organization I care about an awful lot. Now, let's dig into the meat of this 2031 and sort of our future. You know, in the 90s, back literally in the mid 90s, I had an idea to create an AI virtual assistant. This was at a company called General Magic, and we did a lot of this work for General Motors, for OnStar, what was called Virtual Advisor at the time. We ultimately had millions of people on that system. Our virtual assistant was Mary, who was a wonderful young woman to work with, that we recorded her voice literally thousands and thousands of times. And we could understand millions of things that people would say. And we learned so much about how people treated this very, very futuristic technology at the time. In fact, people treated her like a real person. They wanted to date Mary. They wanted to marry Mary. They would yell at her when they had a bad day or she wouldn't understand them. Now, this is 20 years before Siri, but that began my journey into the future of creating really futuristic technologies that might not even have a place today, but might have a place 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And thinking about what humans would want and where technology could take us in 5, 10, even 50 plus years in the future. Now, today I want to just open your mind to what the future could bring, for better or worse. There's no answers here, right? We're just guessing together in this beautiful Zoom room because we can't have the eggs that we normally have today. By the way, I've attended this event for many, many years in person. So we just have mind-tingling possibilities and maybe a little background on the technology that I think is going to take us there. So 2031, it's a great title for today's talk. I want to dig in a little bit to artificial intelligence and machine learning. I know there are experts on here in AI and ML, and there's other people who go, I have no idea what it is. So I'm talking to a diverse audience. But the first thing I want to tell you is to not be scared. This is a great future as long as we prepare for that future. Now, that's hard to say, and it's hard to understand when at the same time in the headlines, Elon Musk says AI will destroy the world. That's a big statement. I understand why he says that. I believe he's wrong. I think it's more likely that one of his rockets will fail and hurt people, but I hear him. And you know, Nobel Prize winner literally just this week, it was in the news, Danielle Kahneman says, clearly AI is going to win. How people are going to adjust to this is the fascinating problem, right? So I agree with him. Yes, AI is clearly going to do some things better than humans do. but not everything for a very long time. So the problem I have is this: when I talk to a group, I go, I'm thinking about how do I convey that AI is a good thing and that we have to really have some basic understanding of it when people cannot grasp the science of wearing masks in a pandemic. We've known about this science since something like the 1700s. This isn't new science, right? This is hard, and this is not a political statement. This is like, wow, we don't even believe science, like, you know, and at the same time, some people think that vaccines harbor tracking nanoprobes so that Bill Gates can track every human in the world. How are we ever going to get people to understand AI and be okay with it, right? And by the way, I've been thinking about this over the last couple of weeks. I think Bill has bigger problems today than tracking Bob Wettig around Sunnyvale. This is just my own personal thinking here. So look, AI at its highest level, its simplest level, is actually quite easy to understand. And I can explain it quite simply so that when you leave, you'll go, oh, I kind of can explain this. Look, it's just math. It's, in the end, it's just math. And we're using lots of data that we have from the past to predict outcomes in the future. And it's so much data that humans can't take it in. Gigabytes, terabytes, whatever it is. An example is if I want to do image recognition, I may need millions and millions and millions of images of animals to be able to then predict when I see a new picture what that animal is. I think it's a fox or a dog or something else, or a coyote. Those can kind of look similar from far away, right? But over time and over millions of images, AI can learn to predict that actually better than humans. So we're simply using a variety of different kinds of algorithms to do this. Now, deep learning, you've heard about, and there are hundreds of very usable machine learning algorithms today. In the news is neural networks, and the news is deep learning because they provide the best solutions to problems such as image recognition, speech recognition, and natural language processing. And those are areas we can easily understand because we're starting to see those in our life every day. But then there's something like reinforcement learning that I'll explain very simply because then you'll be able to explain it. Now, remember the lab experiment where you had the mouse and you put the mouse in a maze and you put some cheese at the other end, but the cheese only showed up at this corner when you rang the bell. Now, at first you ring the bell, the mouse just sits there. But over many months, and it does take a mouse months, the mouse learns to run across the maze and get the cheese every time it hears the bell ring. That's pretty cool. And here's what I want you to understand. AI is no different than that. In fact, reinforcement learning is just that. It tries thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and over time it learns how to win a game, for example. And that's all this is. The mouse learns how to win the game every time it hears the bell. It knows there's cheese there right now, and it's got only a few minutes to get it or the cheese is gone. Okay, great. Now take a second mouse after that first mouse has been in there for a long time. Take a second mouse and put it in there. And every time the bell rings, the mouse runs and gets the cheese and comes back. By the third time that new mouse sees that first mouse to do it, the second mouse thinks that mouse is a genius mouse, an absolute genius. It's incredibly intelligent. In fact, that first mouse is no more intelligent than the second mouse. It just had lots of time to learn. And we don't usually take that time to learn. There's an old rule of thumb, right? Which it takes 10,000 hours to learn how to do anything reasonably well. Very few of us ever take the 10,000 hours to do anything because we've got so many other things in our life. So if you took 10,000 hours to learn how to get the cheese, you'd be pretty good at getting the cheese. And you'd convince people that you're an absolute genius in that one thing. Now, when we talk about AI, a lot of people think it's AI like the movies, like Ex Machina. Most of you have probably seen that or Her. But actually, that's not what professionals work on. That's what Hollywood works on. That's what Hollywood sees as the future of AI. That might happen. It will not happen in any of our lifetimes as we sit here. General AI is decades, maybe 100 or more years away. General means that it has real understanding of the world, of everything that happens in the world, in fact, it grew up with a set of memories, perhaps, and outcomes. And this is just incomprehensible. And in fact, it would have to have EQ, which as we know, AI, you may know, AI and ML don't really have. It's just math. We can fake EQ, but there's no real EQ. It's easy to program Mary in my system from the 90s to say, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm already married. You can't marry me. But that's just programming. That's fake. It doesn't have any real reaction like a human would. So what pros work on is very narrow. It's very narrow. It's driven by industry. It is one task, and it is practical. That's what everyone in the AI industry, the machine learning industry, focuses on is, can I solve this one problem? Can I learn how to cure one kind of cancer by taking in millions and millions of pieces of prior data? By the way, that has been tried and we're getting better at it, but it turns out it's extremely difficult. Let me give you some of the reasons why that's difficult. It's difficult because, and IBM was involved in this, they thought that this would be a great idea. We could learn all about the precursors to breast cancer and maybe, catch it long before you're even doing any scans. And so what they did is they went back to doctors' notes. And they said, well, if we can scan and learn the doctor's notes, maybe there are indications early on, along with DNA and other data, that we can learn from. We can be predictive that you're likely or more likely to suffer from cancer in the future. Great idea. Let me give you part of the problem. Part of the problem is data is all created by humans. Up to now, most basically created by humans. And so a doctor would write literally in their notebook, patient says not smoking. Okay, for some doctors, that means the patient is not smoking. For other doctors, it means the patient is lying to me, is smoking. I can smell it on their breath, but they told me they're not smoking. So if I'm AI, I have absolutely no data without better understanding the intentions of the doctor's writing. And that's even if I can read the doctor's writing, which nobody can read the doctor's writing. That's another problem. Okay. Which is maybe why AI should replace doctors. Okay, let's go forwards with all due respect to the doctors here. There is AI all around us already. So Facebook uses it for facial recognition. Now, the first time you saw that and you took a picture of your mom and it said, should I tag your mom? You go, this is creepy. And we got used to it within a week or two. It's really fascinating. We found it to be of really great utility to us, right? It can guess who those faces are by learning from billions of faces in the past. But it's also at Facebook, they're one of the largest users of AI, to guess what you are likely to want to see more of based on what you've been looking at and clicking on in the past. And the reason is to keep you on there longer. Now, it turns out the first is a great idea, facial recognition, very helpful. The second creates an infinite feedback loop that gets tighter and tighter and tighter and starts to show each of us only what we want to see. And this has created great division in America, great division in the world for people who use Facebook and similar social media. Now, it's not their fault. They have to keep you on there longer. So if I'm writing the algorithms for Facebook, I go, what keeps Heather on here longer, right? Well, I know, okay, well, she really likes these. She likes scouting things. I'm going to feed her lots of scouting things. Now, over time, Heather thinks the world is only scouts because that's all Heather sees, right? That's it. Sorry to use you as an example, Heather, but you're right to the right of me on my screen. So this is scary when it's Russian trolls putting fake news in there and you click on it once and the next thing you get is more fake news. And before you know it, all you have in your feed is fake news. All you have in your feed is there's a basement and a pizza shop in Baltimore, right? And you begin to believe that there is a basement and a pizza shop in Baltimore that is doing really bad things. You begin to believe it because it's all you see. So there's a use of AI that was meant to be good. Everybody meant it to be good for you. I'll only feed you what you want to see. But it turns out if I only feed you what you want to see, humans don't know what to do with that. And they get a feedback loop that was supposed to happen once every Thanksgiving across the table, and then the relatives went home. And now it happens every 5 seconds on your screen. And it's like a dopamine rush. You can't get out of it, okay? So these are examples of how AI can go wrong, and we don't mean them to go wrong. But there's good things, right? We got deep learning models for EKG readings, which beat out the best doctors at finding little arrhythmias. We've got deep learning reading x-rays now and MRI scans that can find tumors with more accuracy than humans alone. We've got AI that can look at a brain scan and see Alzheimer's 5 years before any other predictive markers. And we don't know how it does it. But it was able to look at millions of prior scans and follow those patients through. So it learned that there are something there that humans can't see, but it can see. The clinical trials, including Pfizer's use in getting to the endpoints that they needed for the COVID vaccine by specifically targeting areas that would have potentially the most growth in COVID patients, basically. And the reason you wanted that is it was very important to rapidly hit your endpoints of hundreds of people who had COVID outside of, sort of who took the placebo, who didn't have the vaccine. You needed to do that quickly. So you needed to pick the areas. Do you want to be in Milwaukee? Do you want to be in LA? And fortunately, they used AI to pick those areas, which got them to an endpoint faster than had they done it another way. So AI is impacting our families and our country today in good ways and sort of bad ways. Now, AI is already impacting some jobs. Service jobs like customer support are first. The first jobs it's impacting are mostly jobs we've already sent offshore. And the reason is AI does a better job at the easiest repetitive things. And the easiest repetitive things the US sent offshore mostly, for the most part, many, 10, 20 years ago. And this includes robotics in manufacturing, it includes image recognition in manufacturing, and it includes customer support and things like that. But we're seeing AI in banking and financial trading and speech recognition, image recognition, translation, et cetera. But COVID also accelerated overall digital transformation. Now, digital transformation is a combination of AI, IoT, which is devices that are out there in buildings and equipment and things like that, monitoring everything, right? Internet of Things, and the cloud, so that we don't have to build all this infrastructure. We could take AI, IoT, throw it in the cloud. And that digital disruption is already driving extinction. Of course, we're seeing this across the retail landscape. You'd say, well, Amazon is killing retail. Well, no, actually, we are killing retail because we choose to shop at Amazon. And we choose to shop at Amazon because the AI they have to suggest goods to us, to figure out the right pricing for us, to even get us a $5 item to our house this afternoon for $5, which I can't understand, happens to be pretty compelling. And that is a compelling business case. And they have used AI, and they've used, by the way, in intense robotics in their warehouses to reduce the cost of delivering those goods to us so low that I can buy it cheaper from Amazon this afternoon to my mailbox than I can driving to Target. That's a really fascinating thing. And by the way, Target could have done this. JCPenney could have done it. Sears could have done it. Yes, I've mentioned people that aren't even around anymore. But in IoT, there'll be 1 trillion devices in 20 years, generating a petabyte per second of data. So we need AI to take in all that data, analyze it based on prior data, learn from it, get better at it, and give us recommendations for the future. So digital transformation is this process of using digital technologies to create new business processes, culture, customer experiences to meet changing business and market requirements. So, grocery delivery changed in COVID. Most of us on here went from, I've never done that before, to, I really like this. In fact, it's the only way to safely get groceries. And now we're probably balancing it. I have found, I never used it before, and I found actually it's really a good use of time. I just, click away during the week of the things that I need, and I hit a button, and I don't know, a few hours later, it shows up at my door. That's actually better than me going to the store. So some of these are going to change forever, right? Commercial real estate and how we use commercial real estate is changing forever. Companies are finding they don't actually need to have 100% of their people in the office 100% of the time. So COVID really changed us, and it accelerated trends that were already in play. Business travel is another one, right? We're using Zoom today. And no, it's not as good as being together, but if we were from all around the country, we'd go, this is a great use of time because I didn't have to fly for a day, go to the meeting for an hour, and fly back for the rest of the day. But let's pose some ethical questions in our last, I think, 6 minutes that I have, give or take, or 5 minutes. AI operating weapons. That's already under test today. Who makes the decision to fire on whom, or does anyone? In fact, the Pentagon is already inching towards letting AI control weapons. There's already drills involving swarms of drones that are raising questions about whether machines could outperform a human operator in complex scenarios. I can tell you the machines can every time, but you have to allow them to shoot if it's time to do so. Self-driving cars. How do we program a car to handle a situation where it's going to roll over and kill you as the person in the car, as the occupant, or it's going to hit Granny crossing the street? It's going to do one or the other. There will be situations where you die or Granny dies. Someone's got to make that decision. That is a hard ethical decision. In fact, I'm not sure there's a right decision there, and it's different for each of us, right? Hiring decisions and bias. All of our past hiring databases have information that we put in there as humans. It's biased. I'll give you an example. You're hiring someone this afternoon, or you're interviewing someone this afternoon, and they come in and say, Well, I was a scout with the Bay Area Monterey Bay organization, and you go, well, I'll just hire you. That's actually a built-in bias. It might be an excellent bias, by the way, but it's a built-in bias that you have that other hiring managers may not have had. And these biases are now in the database, and they're stuck there. So even our hiring practices, same with, we always tend to hire people from the university we went to. Why? Well, there's just an affiliation there. So what about 2031? What does it look like? Well, there's plenty of VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality will be pervasive. There'll be new types of entertainment, even some of them with no glasses. Flying taxis are coming faster than driverless cars. We could do a full hour just on that concept. There are already 12 flying taxis awaiting FAA approval. So this is going to happen. And yes, it's like the Jetsons. That's exactly what it's like. Some surgeries will be done by AI. Perhaps you'll have an AI chef at home. That's harder, but it's coming. AI becomes really ubiquitous. It's just everywhere around us. Everything is analyzed and monitored with IoT. There'll be instant handheld translators, or probably just an app on your phone which listens and speaks 100 languages. AI does almost all the hiring. We will work out those biases and figure it out, and AI will make those final hiring decisions because it's going to make better decisions looking at the outcomes. AI will handle many legal tasks, make better stock trades, recognize you and your face where you are at all times, anywhere on any street. I know it's spooky. It just is what it is. AI could create your ending to any movie. But AI will also make videos which place anyone anywhere they have never been, speaking to people they have never met. Now, how will we treat evidence in court when fake evidence is indistinguishable from the truth? AI is both intrusive and invasive, but we don't always know it. So how will we deal with the implications of a fully monitored and prescriptive world? Well, let me tell you, our leaders in 2031, 41, and 51 had better have values and morals and integrity, and scouting teaches values, moral, and integrity that really schools don't. We don't create our schools to do so. It's not their job. It's scouting's job. And we will need smart, high integrity leaders, because AI is going to challenge our leaders like never before. Now, the Scout Law originated in 1908. We've touched on that. We actually heard it a little bit ago, but I want to do this. I'm going to do a quick exercise here. Even though that's 113 years ago, I want you in your mind to replace the word scout with great leader. A scout is trustworthy. A scout is loyal. A scout is helpful. A scout is friendly. A scout is courteous. A scout is kind. A scout is obedient. A scout is cheerful. A scout is thrifty. A scout is brave. A scout is clean. And a scout is reverent. And our future depends, desperately depends, on leaders who adhere to these principles. If we want to stay out of trouble in the future and follow science and be thoughtful about how we treat everyone around us and be open to differences of opinion, those are the rules we need our leaders to follow, and they're going to learn them in scouting. We need them day in and day out, and the way that you can help today is obviously to donate. Please donate with that QR code that's there. Please donate on the link that I think they're putting in chat. That's how you can help. There's your QR code, so put it right up at the screen. You can donate today. I think $300 supports one scout. So if you can do $300,000, that would support 1,000 scouts, and I would appreciate it if you could. Anyway, thank you so much. I promised to get out of here on time. We've got a minute and a half left. Thank you. It's such a pleasure, and so honored to be here with Scouting today. Thank you.
Kevin, thanks. Thank you very much. Before you run, I couldn't agree with you more. It's pretty compelling that my son, who is a Cub Scout, is growing up in this era of AI and virtual reality, because by the time 2031 comes around and he's a leader, we're going to want people like that on the front line. And so thanks for your passionate plea and your word tonight. We do want to say thank you, Kevin, for your time with us today. We want you to remember the moments with us. And so we got you this classic Boy Scout clock here. I know we're all going to remember time with you. You mentioned Bob Wedig earlier. It's easy you don't have to track Bob Wedig. He's in a scout meeting, guaranteed. That's super simple to find him. Bob is going to deliver this to you, Kevin, and we can't thank Bob enough for introducing us to you. Bob, Kevin's name is on here, so you can't just claim this and accidentally not deliver it, okay? Kevin, thank you very much. Great to see you. Great to meet you. All right. We have heard some very powerful testimonials about scouting and some great inspiration today. And we've heard from you. I am pleased to announce, and I'm going to reach over to the crack accounting of Wilson, Stein, and Lerner, and we have our total today. We have raised $116,361 for scouting through today's event and the outreach leading up to it. Thank you very much. Give yourself a big applause and a big hand and make a little noise, get in the chat, go crazy. These contributions and other contributions to our annual Friends of Scouting campaign account for just a little bit more than half of our $1 million goal. So we're making it. We're getting there. We got some words to go, but we're getting there, okay? Before I say goodbye, I want you to hear some final words from some of our fellow supporters.
I would like to invite anyone who is even thinking about the Boy Scout program to dig deeper, to ask someone. It is a wonderful program. We serve youth from kindergarten through, I think, age 24. They can join at any time. Don't think you're too old or too young to be in Scouts. There's something for everyone. You're going to have great adventures. You're going to learn a lot about yourself and about your community and about your nation. You're going to learn leadership. You're going to have so much fun.
Please join me in supporting our youth as we support Scouting. There's nothing more rewarding than having something to do with helping our youth go through their difficult years, developing skills, and learning confidence for the future. Please join me in the Scouting mission.
I'd really like to invite all of you to come and join us. This is a great organization. We're doing great work. We need help. We need assistance. We need involvement from all the parents, from people throughout the community. So I invite you to please come and join us.
You know, I'll tell you, one of the greatest things about Scouting are the people you meet and the people that you can make a difference with. Our council is made up of some amazing people who make things happen for our community and our youth. I would encourage anyone who sees this video, please ask, get engaged, go meet some people who are making a difference in the lives of our young people. And all I could ask you to do is help us make that difference. Thank you.
Thank you